So, hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. We welcome you back here at BSN Arc. This is the BSN Arc podcast here today. It is Wednesday, August 26th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. I'm your host. We got another great show coming at you. Like I said, during this whole really downtime in sports, I was still able to find topics because luckily the NFL was very active with, protocol news, was very active with just the draft, trades. Teams were just very active in training, contracts, salaries. We got another big contract that got signed yesterday. Talk about that, second topic of the show. It's been great, and I've been able to find a ton of topics. And I really am surprised, especially because now this time of year, I'm usually in a regular, normal world without COVID or the virus. I'm usually talking about baseball season and the start of football season. But with that being said, I'm with all these other sports on. I'm talking about hockey. I'm talking about NBA. I'm talking about NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. Talking about all those. So in a way, it's nice, but in a way too, it's like you realize the reason you have this happen is because of the virus, and obviously that's the case because you have all four of the major sports playing right now. So you really can't you really can't complain too much about that there's that there's all these sports on, but in a way, I guess sometimes people just like in normal where right now baseball dominates, especially after July and August baseball. They just absolutely dominate. July and August baseball dominates, and in September football takes over, but baseball still is very good throughout September because then that's a playoff. But when it's in July and August, that's the heart of the baseball season. NBA Finals is done. But now, with all these other sports on, it's really good, too. And everybody says, we're going to see all these great ratings out of people. Well, you might not see as great a ratings out of leagues because of the fact that there's four of them going on. It's not like the MLB. There's one sport going on in July and August. Then you have the NFL start up in September. But you know what I'm saying? And the MLB is consistently taking ratings, boosting. We're dominating. The MLB is dominating. NBA is down 45% their ratings. Just reasons, just reasons. Many people have heard different things. Not going to get into it. But the NBA ratings are down. I think NHLs are actually up. I think MLBs are up. NFLs we'll see because they haven't started their season yet. But so far so good in the sports world, and everything's went well. These sporting leagues have went well. But anyway, so we did see a no-hitter yesterday in the MLB. Lucas Giolito of the White Sox ace pitcher Lucas Giolito pitched a no-hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Went 9 innings, I think 13 Ks, 1 walk, and pitched a no-hitter. 2020's first no-hitter for the White Sox ace. I didn't see the game. I was watching the Rays-Orioles, and I was watching the Dodgers. I was literally watching batting practice when I was watching the Dodgers Giants. I saw the Rays-Orioles game. The Rays won that game. Then I saw the Dodgers-Giants. And the Giants hit a home run in the first inning. The Giants, I think, actually hit 2 home runs. No, 1 home run in the first inning, and so did the Dodgers. And, yeah, it was pretty much a batting practice, to say the least. So, it was a good game, though, so far. I think it was 3-3 going in the second inning. And then I kind of, yeah. But anyway, so that's what I got for the intro. Now these are the topics for today's podcast. We got the Red Sox trade targets. I'm going to get into it, man. The Red Sox are thinking about selling. They're thinking about selling. They're literally thinking about saying, hey, here's our players. Take them. JD Martinez is on the table. Xander Bogaerts is on the table. Jackie Bradley Jr. is on the table. Many players are on the table. I've heard Kevin Pillar is on the table. There's a lot of players that are on the table. I'm going to talk about them coming right up. Then we got Budda Baker, Cardinals, and NFL salaries. Budda Baker gets a ton of money. They make him the highest paid safety in NFL history, giving him a 4-year, $95 million deal. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think that was necessary. Then we have the Yankees, Mets, and Islanders. The Yankees gets postponed yesterday. Mets play Islanders play today. We'll talk about all that coming up later on in the podcast. So, anyway, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, Red Sox trade deadline preview. 4 more veterans Boston could move on and where they might fit. So, it's crazy to think, but just 2 years ago, the Red Sox were on top of the baseball world. They were holding up the World Series trophy on top of the baseball world. Has just got done beating the Dodgers, who have lost their, second straight World Series then. They had an insane team. I mean, they really did. They had Sale, Porcello, Eovaldi still. They had one of the better pitching rotations, one of the better teams in all of the league. I mean, it's true. And this is when the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry was still very, very good. Yankees-Red Sox rivalry was dominating. That's when it was still very, very good. Yankees ended up getting crushed that year in the NLDS against the Red Sox. Red Sox go on to beat the cheater Astros, go on to beat the Dodgers in the World Series. That was all back in 2018. And I mean, it really is crazy. I mean, they're 2 years removed from a World Series championship, and they're already thinking about completely stripping down this team, completely getting a brand new team. Like, literally, Verdugo and Rafael Devers might be the 2 remaining guys on that team by the time, next season starts. Because they're not going to do all the moves this season because they're not going to be able to get everything back. And also, with the virus and the taxi squad and everything, they might keep some players intact. But I'm telling you, this. It is crazy to think the fact that crazy to think the fact that this was a Red Sox team that is 2 years, only 2. It's not like people are like, oh, well, they made the World Series 5 years ago and they still haven't been good. Now they're really going through a complete rebuild. All right, that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago was completely different. Like that's almost like saying, oh, the Yankees made the World Series. They won in 2009. Oh, we won in 2009 and then we went through a rebuild and now all of a sudden we're good again. But that's 11 years ago. Completely different. This is 2 years ago removed. This is Red Sox being good last year, coming off of a World Series. Not very good. Still had Mookie Betts, still had JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, all those players. Didn't do good last season. Chris Sale, but he was playing through that elbow injury, ended up having to get Tommy John. Everybody was wondering why was Chris Sale. I actually got to give I'm giving myself credit here. I actually said when Chris Sale was struggling, I said there's something wrong with his arm. Because he's never this bad. There was something wrong with his arm. He's also got that sidearm motion. Another reason why he throws it like this, not over the top. He's more of a sidearm kind of guy. But we'll get into that a different day. But yeah. And it was crazy. The Red Sox, I can't believe I'm talking about the Red Sox, but the Red Sox stunk last season, which is great. I like I said, I love when the Red Sox are bad. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not trying to be like, oh, wow, just 2 years removed, and this is so sad that you're going through a rebuild. No, I love it, because you know what? That means Yankees, Red Sox, one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. The Yankees are going to dominate that for the next 3 years at least. So, Red Sox then weren't good last season. Okay, we traded away Mookie Betts, traded away David Price. Okay, we got Alex Verdugo in return. Alex Verdugo is a young, rising star. In my opinion, Verdugo could be the next pretty good thing. Meaning, I don't want to say the next big thing, because the next big thing is almost like Zion Williamson in NBA. I want to say Alex Verdugo is the Zion Williamson of MLB. Wouldn't someone say that? I mean, what the next big thing could be is Aaron Judge, for example. This is just the beginning of his career. The next big thing, he could be very well 3-4 years from now. He could be the biggest thing in the MLB. Meaning, everybody's talking to him. Mike Trout's the talk of the MLB. You ask somebody who Mike Trout is, they all know who Mike Trout is. Right? Aaron Judge could be the next. He could be the face of the MLB in a way. Mike Trout at the moment is probably the face of the MLB. There's a difference between being a face of a team, face of a franchise. Then if you first start off as a face of the franchise, then you're usually a face of a division. He's the face of the AL East. He's the best player. Then you're the face of the league. That's kind of what Mike Trout is. He literally is the face of the league. But anyway, Alex Verdugo I think has a bright future ahead of him, because what I've seen out of him, also the way he handles himself, in my opinion, is very good. And I'm not trying to talk. And like I said, this is the Red Sox. I don't like the Red Sox, and I'm not trying to mean like I'm giving the Red Sox credit here because they got Alex Verdugo. I said the same exact thing when he was on the Dodgers. I said the same exact thing. I said this guy is probably a guy that he's probably like a prospect for them. They have not played much. Now he's gonna get a chance to play. He got a chance to play with the Red Dodgers. Proved himself. Now he's on the Red Sox. He's played well. And another reason why I like how he's handled himself, everybody keeps comparing him to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts. Mookie this. Mookie that. Mookie this. Mookie that. Everybody's like, oh, how do you think about Mookie Betts? What do you think about Mookie Betts? Here, how about Mookie Betts? Do you think you could do this like Mookie Betts? He literally said, he completely told the media, he said, I'm not Mookie Betts. I'm Alex Verdugo. I'm going to go out there and do what I can do. And that is try my best and play the best I can. That's what I like about players. Like you can't expect him to come on and be Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts, you can make the argument, is one of the better, is a top 10 player in the league right now on the Dodgers. I mean, you're really, and Verdugo's not a top 10 player. So when people start, and that's what happens when you have to fill big shoes, a lot of people start to get comparing. So, for example, Cam Newton's got to fill big shoes in New England. People might compare Cam to Tom Brady. They might get those crazy people. Not compare him, meaning like stats-wise. Meaning like say, oh, what do you think about Tom Brady? How do you think he did this? What are you going to do? Did you do this like this? You feel like you can do it like this? When you have to fill big shoes, there's a lot of times media people. And that's the thing. Those media, I will admit, even though media people are annoying sometimes. I will admit. Some of these questions they ask are stupid. Some of these questions they ask are just so dumb. Like they're just dumb. They Google YouTube shirts, media asking dumb questions, and probably like a whole 15-minute compilation will come on. I watch them all the time. You could go by category. You could go by MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever sport, even soccer. I'm sure there's some. But there's definitely some bad media stuff. But anyway, back to the whole point with the Red Sox. So they're 2 years removed from a World Series. Last season they struggled. This year they're struggling again. I mean, they're at the bottom of the AL East. I think they have one of the worst records, only behind the Pirates, who are horrible. Pirates have been going through. The Pirates are so weird. The Pirates are so weird. I'm gonna get into the Pirates just for a second here. The Pirates are so weird. They were good with Andrew McCutchen. Great, very, very, very good. Then all of a sudden McCutchen left. They were like, eh. Now all of a sudden they're like awful. They're horrible. And they don't have a horrible team either. Now all of a sudden they're thinking about giving up Josh Bell. Josh Bell, one of their young talents, they're thinking about giving up. This reminds me a little bit of the Jets situation with Jamal Adams. They're going to have to get a lot in return. They're going to have to get a first baseman and maybe a couple draft picks or maybe another player. You're going to have to get like a 2-for-1 for that. Because you're literally giving up one of your young talents, your future star. Josh Bell, he's young. He's your future star, and you might be giving him up. Same thing with Jamal Adams, future star, and we gave him up. But it's a different story, different day, right? So the Red Sox are 2 years removed. They're struggling. They're struggling right now. I was very surprised to hear that Xander Bogaerts could be gone. This is one of the names that even when I was watching the Yankees game, I was like, this guy seems like he's going to probably stay with the Red Sox for a long time. I mean, I literally was sitting there saying that because when I was watching the game, the announcers were talking about how the Red Sox are going to be absolute full-out sellers. You might not see JD Martinez in a Red Sox uniform after trade. And you might not see Kevin Pillar. You might not see Xander Bogaerts. And when they said Xander Bogaerts, I was like, really? Really? You might not see Xander Bogaerts? Like, Xander Bogaerts has been with the Red Sox for the longest time. It was almost like he was one of the remaining, lone, same thing with Jackie Bradley Jr. To see Jackie Bradley Jr. go after all those years, oh my gosh. Anyway, so then he's like Jackie Bradley Jr., Xander Bogaerts. The players that they named their whole roster. They literally went through the line and be like, oh, this guy could leave. This guy will probably be leave. JD Martinez, I think, is one of the more secure players. I think he's gone by the deadline. Sources I trust, people I trust, sources I trust, they tell me that JD Martinez is almost a guarantee that he won't be in a Red Sox uniform after August 31st. That's what I've heard from sources I trust and things and announcers that I've heard from. It seems like out of that whole team, JD Martinez would be the first person to be traded. Now, that could very well change. I think the reason that being is he's gone off to a little bit of a slow start this season, I think. And I think too he's getting older. And I think once again this is a team. People, and it's very frustrating as a fan because I had to go through with the Yankees. I'm going through with the Jets. I had to go through with the Nets. Hopefully the Nets is mainly over. And I'm starting up and going through with the Rangers right now, just in the start of it all. Wish me luck. So I felt the rebuild, and believe me, it's frustrating. But you got to think of the positive side of this. As a fan standpoint, it's frustrating because you got to think of the positive side of this. At this very moment, your team's going to be horrible. But you got to think future. 2-3 years from now, you could be on the top of the baseball world. I hate using this team as an example, but they are one of the very good examples. The Astros were a horrible team. Horrible, horrible, horrible. They ended up they did that kind of rebuild. Nobody thought they would be good. Nobody thought they would. 6 years later, they're holding up a trophy. It took them 6 years to get good. You see how cheating helped them. Cheating did help them. Cheating helped them. They got good. They became good. Cheating helped them a lot. Cheating helped them big time. But when they were good, the cheating made them great. So, yeah. I can't leave that cheating part of it out. But, this Red Sox team is just a team that's just I think they're falling down the tank a little bit. I think this is kind of the end for the Red Sox in a way. I think this is probably the Red Sox final couple of games with a good roster. Jackie Bradley Jr., Kevin Pillar, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts. They're pitching too. I think this is another thing that they're going to be trying to trade. Because people want JD Martinez. People are going to want Xander Bogaerts. Xander Bogaerts, you can make an argument, is one of the better shortstops in all of the league. People are going to want Jackie Bradley Jr. He's a good outfielder. Not a great hitter, but defense wins championships, right? So, I think that they're going to get a lot of pitching in return. Is what I'm getting from this, and this is kind of a prediction I made, is I believe they're going to trade a lot of these big guys, Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley Jr., Kevin Pillar, JD Martinez, all of them for pitching. I think a big-name pitcher or a prospect. I could very well see a little bit of both. I could very well see maybe a big name and I could very well see a big name, and I could very well see a big name pitcher, and I could very well see a prospect. They may get down the road because they are building for the future now. And this is kind of a kind of a thing. Sorry about this. My article for some reason just froze on me. Okay, there we go. So back to my point. I think they're going to go for a pitching. I think they're going to go for some pitching, prospect, big name pitcher, whatever. I think they might go for that because they need pitching. Look at their pitching. I think they're the only team this year, and they've used so many starters, like a start, like not like meaning like regular starting pitchers. They use so many guys out of the bullpen. That's why I think they're messed up. Because when you have a 60-game sprint, you have a game almost every single day, and you have to go from your bullpen so often. I don't even think they have 5 straight pitchers down the rotation that they really believe in. The Red Sox, have had 13 games this year where they did not have a set pitcher until he took the field, and they had a set pitcher. It's literally that bad. Their pitching is horrible. And as a Yankees fan, you look at that, the Red Sox pitching makes the Yankees pitching look amazing. The Yankees pitching good just because Cole and Monty are in there. But other than that, Paxton, Happ, and Tanaka are eyesores. Tanaka in the postseason is not an eyesore. Happ and Paxton and Tanaka, though, in the regular season, eyesores. So, that's the thing. I think the Red Sox are going to go for pitching. I think they are. And they also might just go for young talent, straight up young talent. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a guy that's not going to be ready for the next 2 years because that's what they're building for, I think. I think they're going for a complete rebuild. I think very well 2 years from now you could see the Red Sox be like an Orioles. You very well could see it. Devers and Verdugo, I think, are the only 2 players that are going to remain because I think those are two guys that are kind of the front runners of kind of leading this rebuild. I think Devers is going to be through the rebuild. I think Verdugo is going to be through the rebuild. Other than that, I would have to look at the roster. I can very well see Michael Chavez being gone. Christian Vasquez will probably be gone. He's been in the Red Sox, catching for the Red Sox forever now. He will probably be gone. Kevin Plawecki will probably be gone. They'll probably pick up a new catcher. Maybe they'll keep one of them. But I'll tell you what, man. This is a team that the Red Sox next year, they're not even going to look like the Red Sox. And the Yankees should dominate the Red Sox in coming years. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the whole Red Sox situation. But we will see. So, Red Sox trade deadline preview: 4 more veterans Boston could move on and where they might fit. Major League Baseball's trade deadline will pass on August 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 6 days from today. While this deadline is unlikely to be busy or as entertaining as it is normal, it's because of a variety of reasons, including the pandemic's financial impact on the teams and their budgets, and the tight clustering and standings spurred by a shortened season and an expanded playoff field. There will still be a number of trades made between now and then. Over the weekend, the Red Sox and Phillies completed what could be classified as their first trade of the deadline season. 4-pitcher swap that involved veteran relievers Brandon Workman and Heath Hembree. The Red Sox aren't likely to be done either. Boston entered Tuesday with the major's third worst record and second poorest run differential, often a better indicator of team strength in smaller samples. The Red Sox, far from contender status, are open for business. While dreaming up Xander Bogaerts or JD Martinez trade scenarios is a fun way to pass the time and could may in handy this winter, it's more likely that Boston focuses its efforts on moving 4 veteran hitters. Let's evaluate and identify potential landing spots for each of them. Jackie Bradley Jr. A pair of outfielders, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Kevin Pillar, are thought to be the likeliest Red Sox to be dealt before September hits, according to what league sources have told CBS Sports. Begin with Bradley Jr., whose poor start to the season, 235 batting average, is more deceptive than not. It's true that he has below average exit velocity and reduced launch angle. Also, another thing here, I want to say something. Jackie Bradley Jr. is getting very old, and like I said, they're veterans. I said this before. They're going to give away their veterans because they're going for the future. This is not now. This is the future. They're building for the future. They're getting rid of those veterans that, when you're a veteran, when you're old like this, he's been with the Red Sox forever now, you just lose that kind of power. So, it is what it is. But it's more important to note that his usage is different from the past. The Red Sox aren't protecting him against the left-handers as much as they did in the past, leading to a skewed overall line. To wit, his 755 OPS against right-handed pitchers this year is above his career norm. A team acquiring Bradley Jr. would be wise to limit his exposure to lefties. If they do that, he should be able to provide above-average defense and some bottom-of-the-order production against right-handed pitching for the rest of the season. Potential fits: Rockies, Indians, Phillies. Kevin Pillar. As for Pillar, he's off to a good start, hitting .278 and showing more patience than normal. He's walking at a career-high rate, nearly 8%, and swinging on less than half the pitches he's seen. That may not sound impressive, but keep that in mind that Pillar often offered at nearly 60% of his pitches he saw during the 2019 season. Whereas the Red Sox aren't platooning Bradley Jr. as aggressively, they've taken the inverse approach with Pillar. He's facing a greater percentage of left-handers than usual, and that's working out just fine for him. Coming into Monday, he'd hit .277 with the platoon advantage. He probably won't keep up that pace based on his career numbers, .280, but he out to make for a fine short side platoon option for someone. Potential fits: Rockies, Indians, Phillies. So almost like the same teams, I feel like. So it looks like, in a way, the Rockies might be buyers. Those are 2 teams that the Rockies are on. So next up, Mitch Moreland. Here's what we wrote about Mitch Moreland when we included him in our list of 25 trade candidates. The Red Sox hold an option on Mitch Moreland for 2021. That will pay him $3 million if he gets exercised. The petition could make him more appealing to contenders who are seeking a tolerable option at the cold corner. For this year and years to come, for this year and the year to come, there's no great mystery about what he provides. He's been a league average hitter or thereabout for the last 3 years, and he's a former Gold Glove Award winner who is most likely to get his teammates into country music than he is to hit 300 or smack 30 home runs. That's okay. He's cheap. What else needs to be said? Nothing in our estimation. Potential fits: Brewers, Diamondbacks, Rockies. Christian Vasquez. End up with Christian Vasquez, who is also a team-friendly contract. He's locked up through next season with for $6.25 million, with an employer holding a club option on 22 worth $7 million. Vasquez hasn't made good on the offensive promise he showed last season when he launched 23 home runs. Entering Monday, he was hitting .258 with a strikeout and walk rates that were heading in the wrong direction. Teams will tolerate that kind of offensive shakiness from their backstop. If they're cheap and talented behind the dish, and Vasquez is both. He grades as an above-average framer and thrower, and he just turned 30 last week. So they aren't many attractive catching options on the market. So Boston might try to take advantage of the situation and see if Vasquez can't bring back some than he might otherwise. Potential fits: Rays, Rockies, Padres. Rockies, man. They're jeez. Rockies are in everything. What are the Rockies? They're serious buyers, it seems like. Or they're just buyers for Red Sox players. Tell you what you won't see. Yankees aren't getting one of these players. So if you are a Yankees fan and hate Gary Sanchez and believe that Christian Vasquez could be decent, no. You're not going to get it. Yankees and Red Sox don't pull off too many deals. They pulled off that one deal. Babe Ruth came over from the Red Sox to the Yankees. One of the pivotal things in the Yankees' history that really started up our franchise, really. We were kind of down here. We got Babe Ruth up here. That started the rivalry, and ever since now, we're sitting here 2020, still talking about that trade. So, but Red Sox are going through a rebuild. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. And the Yankees are going to be able to dominate the Red Sox for the next couple of years until they get at least an average team. It might get to the Orioles. It might get to the point the Yankees-Orioles might be a good series. That's how bad it could get. I think this Red Sox team is going to go through a vicious rebuild. I think a lot of teams are doing what the Astros did. That's what the Orioles are doing. That's what I feel like the Red Sox are on track for. I mean, it's a good strategy. I would like to see what happens with the Orioles because they won't cheat. And you always wonder, like, what if the Astros didn't cheat? Like, would they have been really made the World Series? Now, here's my whole thing: is that took like 6 years for the Astros to become good, very good. Then, now look at them. But cheating helped. And Orioles, I'd like to see what happens. They've been rebuilding I think this is like their third year of rebuilding. I think, yeah, because 2017, I think they made the playoffs. 2018, 2019, now 2020. Yeah, so they've been rebuilding. I think this is like their third year of the rebuild. Yeah, so they probably have like a good 3 years to go. They're halfway through it. But yeah, so the Orioles are going through that rebuild. I think the Red Sox are up next. Pirates are been through it for the past 4 years. I don't know where the Pirates are going. I feel like every year the Pirates take a step backwards. Usually when you're going through a rebuild, every year you're supposed to take a little step forward. It's supposed to be baby steps. Then all of a sudden you take that giant leap when you get a really good free agent or somebody really good. That's what the Nets are doing. They took baby steps. Okay, we made the playoffs. All right. Baby steps. Okay, all right. We got this player. All right. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. All right, we made the playoffs again. Okay. I feel like the Pirates have taken step backwards ever since they started their so-called rebuild. Like, it was so weird. Like, the Pirates are almost like a Red Sox in a way. They made the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they just fell off the face of the earth, and the Pirates haven't done anything. I mean, they literally haven't done anything. They just got no hit last night. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so the Red Sox are going to trade their big sellers. I think they might be one of the more selling teams of this trade deadline. Should be interesting. Coming up next, Buda Baker, NFL salaries. Alright, so for some reason, I don't know what it is, but today, this isn't working. I don't know what's happening. Alright, I'm gonna go do this really quickly. So we'll get talking here. I don't know why in the world this is not happening. Buda Baker. Sorry about this. Hold up. For some reason, my articles aren't, working. Alright, is this working? If this isn't working, then I have another article. I always have backup articles, but I wanted this article because it's pretty good. And it's quick, too. I'm not a huge fan of long articles. I like the quick ones that give you a lot of information quickly, not that are long and most of it's words and some of it's info. But anyway, so Buda Baker, Cardinals NFL salaries. Cardinals signed Buda Baker to massive 4-year extension during 2020 training camp. NFL is handing out money. That's all I can say about this. They are. They're handing out a ton of cash. They're handing out money left and right. Even with all this revenue loss that they're going to get, I actually find this year they're handing out more contracts than they have in past years, even though this year they're going to get a ton of revenue loss due to no fans, due to the virus. The MLB said that it might be not as big because of the revenue loss. These teams don't have that much money due to the revenue loss. But to be honest with you, this is a deal I would not have made even with the virus. This is a deal I wouldn't have agreed with the virus. This is a deal I wouldn't have agreed with there. Okay, Buda Baker is an above average, is a good secondary guy. He's good. Good. He's a safety. He's an above average safety. If you had me grade him, I would give him like a 5.56. He's not that good. He's good. He's nothing special. He's good. He's just average. He's average to good. Buda Baker does not, in my opinion, does not deserve this money. I give this deal like a C because I don't think he deserves any of this. Okay, this is no Jamal Adams. This is no Minka Fitzpatrick. This is Buda Baker, who probably is not a top 10 safety in the league right now. Maybe he is. Compare him to other safeties. Maybe he is. I would have to look at the numbers, compare them, what defenses they run, what teams, what kind of zones they are in, what they are, blitzing, corner. I would have to compare. I don't want to say this now, say he's not a top 10, and all of a sudden be like, oh, he's clearly a top 10. I don't want to say that because I don't know. I'm not great with safeties. Earl Thomas is safety, but he's a head case. I don't even want to compare him to anybody at this point. But Buda Baker is an average to good tight end at best. He's good at best. He's like a 6 out of 10, 5.5, 6 out of 10 at best. He's at best. Now, Jamal Adams, 8.9. Minka Fitzpatrick, 8.9. Mahomes, 8.9. Mahomes is almost a 10 out of 10. I mean, he could do everything. I mean, he's just great. 10 out of 10 means you're absolutely perfect. like players that have gotten their big cash, Bosa, 8.9. 7.8, actually. 7.8. He got his cash. Right? Players that got their money this offseason, they are very good. And gotta take players who got their money this offseason are very good. Buda Baker is the first one that I'm questioning. And you know that out of me, too. I usually give good grades for these things. Even the one with the Patrick Mahomes one, even that, I said this is a 9 out of. This is an A plus. This deal's an A plus. Chris Jones, A plus. Bosa, I gave it an A because I don't think Bosa's all that good, all that great. He's very good. I don't know if he's worth all that money, so I gave him an A for that. I think it's a good deal. Maybe the money was a little bit of a stretch. Now, who else got signed? Now you have Buda Baker. Let's just go with Buda Baker. Buda Baker is good at best. He's like a 6 out of 10 at best. And all of a sudden, he gets all this money. Like, what? He's a 2-time Pro Bowler throughout his 3 years. I'm going to tell you this. I do not think, and what you read in the article might be convincing that he is. I do not think this deal is worth it. I do not think he should be the highest paid safety in NFL history. If you were to tell me that Budda Baker, Tyrann Mathieu is probably even better than him. If you were to tell me Budda Baker a year ago, if you would have told me or even yesterday before the deal happened, if you would have told me Budda Baker is the highest paid NFL safety, I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. I would have thought, like, when I heard about Budda Baker, I was like, okay, who first is this dude? And I realized, all right, he plays for the Cardinals. I started, because I was sitting there, I was watching a TV show. I was watching the Herbert Colin Coward, and I was sitting there watching it. I was like, I heard that the news broke, and I was like, Budda Baker. And I was like, okay, he plays for the Cardinals. He's a safety. I Googled him. I'm like, oh, my gosh. When I heard he got a big deal, I didn't know, like, record-breaking. I started to read into it. I was like, oh, my gosh. This guy who's average to good is getting a record-breaking 95, I think, $1 million deal for the Cardinals, for a team that stinks, for a player that's good at best, and you're going to give him all this money for 4 years. I don't understand why they gave it to him. And like I said, I've been very, very good with contracts. I've been very, very light on contracts. I know a lot of people have disagreed with some of the contracts that have been signed, some of the big ones as well. Some of the Patrick Mahomes, the Chris Jones, some of the big ones. They have been very, 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 some people have been very, very, very mad about them. But Budda Baker, I don't know if he deserves all this money. I mean, this is a big contract. And when I mean big contract, I mean huge contract. I mean, this is record-breaking stuff. And for Budda Baker, if you would have told me, okay, Minkah Fitzpatrick or Jamal Adams, I would be like, okay, I can understand that. But it's Budda Baker. We don't even know if he's a top 10 safety in the league. Patrick Mahomes got his money. Many players have got their money. A lot of players have got their money. A lot of contract extensions. This is one that I'm sitting here right now, August 26th, questioning. I'm questioning this move. I don't think it was the best move ever. Now, yes, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler in 3 years, but when you hear people say, think of a top safety in the league, you usually hear, oh, maybe Tyrann Mathieu, maybe Earl Thomas when his head wasn't going crazy, maybe Jamal Adams, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Okay. Nobody says Budda Baker. But yet he is the one getting all this money. George Kittle got his money. Kelsey got his money. Chris Jones got his money. Mahomes got his money. Bosa got his money. Every player got their money. And I agree with those. Those ones I was agreed with. George Kittle, best tight end in the league. Travis Kelsey right behind him. Mahomes, best quarterback. Bosa, one of the better defensive linemen in the league. Chris Jones, one of the better defensive linemen in the league. Defensive end, Bosa, top 10. Defensive tackle, Jones, top 10. People. Now you're giving all this money to Budda Baker, who may not crack the top 10. He might. I would have to look at everybody else. You're giving him record-breaking deal. To be honest, I think the Cardinals messed up on this one. I think they do. I think they do. I think they messed up big time too. I think it was like a C. C, maybe a B. No, maybe a B. But I'm telling you, like for a guy to get, and I'm with them, the players. When they get a big amount of money, I'm like, all right, it was a good deal. But when you give an amount of money to a player that, I'm not trying to be mean, but to a player that I don't think nearly deserves it. I mean, if you would have told me Budda Baker's the highest paid safety yesterday before this deal broke, like I said earlier on in the podcast, I would have thought you were nuts. No way did I would have thought in any day of the week would I have thought that Budda Baker sitting here in 2020, August 25th, would sign the record-breaking deal. If you would have told me, okay, 4-year contract extension, I'd be like, all right, okay. Anybody could sign a 4-year contract extension. Budda Baker, record-breaking deal. All right, now things are getting a little interesting. This is a very interesting move, and in my opinion, a move that could either hurt the Cardinals or be good. I think it's going to either bite him in the butt because I think Budda Baker's not that big of a name. Now he's going to grow a name for himself just because he broke big headlines. Now all of a sudden he's a big name. Now all of a sudden everybody knows about him. Getting his contract, I have an odd feeling he might not be as good. If he was a big name player like Mahomes always having the spotlight, okay, Mahomes knows how to do that. Budda Baker doesn't know how to have the spotlight. One, he's on a small organization near Arizona Cardinals. He's on a bad team that is highlighted by their offense in DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. They're a team that's highlighted by their defense or offense. Not many people really talk about their defense much. Small organization, bad team. Now all of a sudden he's getting the spotlight. He's going to have a lot of pressure, to live up to that contract, have a lot of pressure to show fans that he's capable of that contract. It could either be okay for the I don't think there's any in between. I don't think it's great or bad. I think it's okay or bad. Cardinals signed Budda Baker to massive 4-year extension during 2020 training camp. Prove me wrong, right? Budda Baker is now a very wealthy man. The 24-year-old safety has become one of the best at the position since joining Arizona Cardinals. At the team's second round pick in 2007, going on to have a breakout year last season and becoming an anchor for the club's defense in the process, with the future being as bright as it is for Baker. The Cardinals not having the luxury of a 5th-round option on his contract, they decided to forego. I give him a B. I'll give him a B, I guess. Forego allowing him to play out his contract year in 2020. C or B, whatever. Instead, they've signed him to a hefty 4-year extension worth $59 million via Adam Schefter of ESPN, confirmed by Baker's agent David Mulugeta, at an annual salary of $14.75 million. Baker becomes the highest paid safety in the NFL, but the Cardinals went one step further in the sweetening the tea, with $33.1 million in guaranteed money per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, setting a new benchmark in that category as well, besting Eddie Jackson's deal in Chicago. $33.1 million guaranteed. So Budda Baker could not work another day in his life for 4 more years, and he'll get $33.1 million for an average. Maybe prove me wrong. Go out there and be the best. Go out there, win Defensive Player of the Year. Go out there, win Defensive Player of the Year. Go out there, do one of those things. But I foresee him being okay. What makes this historic deal is even more impressive is that the fact Baker doesn't have a single interception in his NFL career, and the fact that's mostly irrelevant given his overall impact. Heralded as one of the best players in the 2017 NFL draft, Baker hasn't disappointed in the least. With only 3 years on his professional resume. He's already on his professional resume. He's already a 2-time Pro Bowler and a first-team All-Pro safety, which continues his dominance from his career at the University of Washington, where he earned consensus All-American and 2-time first-team All-Pac-12 honors. He burst right out of the gate in Arizona and was named the PFWA All-Rookie Team, despite starting in only 7 games after taking the lead following an injury that season to Tyvon Branch. Baker went on to deliver 74 combined tackles, 7 pass deflection, a sack, and a fumble recovery in those 7 starts, and hasn't looked back since. In 2019, he racked up 147 combined tackles, 104 solo, to go along with 6 pass deflections and the 4th fumble recovery of his career, showing the value in whatever the Cardinals ask of him. The two will now be married for the next half-decade by virtue of a 2020 having been the final year of his current deal. And Baker is officially the man to beat, not only on the field but also at the bank. So, Budda Baker all of a sudden growing a huge name for himself. Interesting. So all I'm going to say about this deal is interesting. So, Yankees got rained out yesterday. Cole was going to take the ball. Got rained out. They play today a doubleheader, 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then today they play a doubleheader, 2 7-inning games, 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I say they win both. They get Judge back. Cole might be on the hill game 1. I say they win both. I think coming out, they're 5 days off. They're fresh. Or maybe a little rusty, but they're 5 days off. They got things to think about. Players got healthy. Judge is back. I give them a win. Both 2 wins there. Yankees. That's the Yankees news. The Mets yesterday. I said they would split. They lost, I think, both games. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they lost both games. They didn't score one run in 14 innings. They lost the first game 4-0. I'll read you those stats. I mean, the Mets, man, 4 hits, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Mets had no runs, 8 hits, 1 error. The Mets went 1 for 4. Nimmo went 1 for 4. J.D. Davis went 2 for 4. Conforto went 2 for 4. Alonso went 0 for 3 with a walk. Cano went 0 for 4. Dom Smith went 1 for 3. Ramos went 1 for 3 with a walk. McNeil went 1 for 2 with a walk. Ramos went 1 for 2 with a walk. McNeil went 1 for 2 with a walk. And Rosario went 0 for 3. Purcell pitched 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Corey Oswalt, 4 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So, now we move on to next game. Mets had no runs, 4 hits, no errors. Marlins had 3 hits, 2 runs, no errors. 2 hits, no errors. So the Mets had no runs, 4 hits. The Mets had 4 hits and they had 2 hits. Wow. Nimmo went 0 for 3. J.D. Davis went 1 for 3 with a walk. Conforto went 0 for 3. Alonso went 0 for 3. Dom Smith went 1 for 1 with 2 walks. McNeil went 0 for 2 with a walk. Rosario went 1 for 2. Cano went 1 for 1. Went 0 for 0. Gilmore went 0 for 2 with a walk. Sanchez went 0 for 2. Ramos went 0 for 1. Seth Lugo, 3 innings pitched, no hits, no earned, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Hughes, 0.2 inning pitch, 2 hits, 2 earns, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Shreve went 1 1/3, no hits, no earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. Familia went 1 inning, no hits, 1 earned, no walk, 1 walk, no strikeouts. So the Mets fall both games. They played today. I think the Marlins keep it going. Said the Marlins win those games. And now we move to the Islanders. The Islanders play today, coming off of a huge 4-0 win, Game 1. I give the Islanders a win as they're coming off a huge Game 1 win. Shut out by the goalie. They got the momentum going. Flyers are in the hole. The Islanders are making sure they don't get out of that hole. Islanders they're dominated that first game. They're going to win this game. Anyway, yeah. So, the Yankees, by the way, they play today, like I said, doubleheader, 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, just make sure you're ready if you want to watch that game. Then the Islanders obviously play today as well. That should be an interesting game. Islanders, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they play against the Flyers, try to take Game 2. If they could go up 2-0 in the series, it gets interesting. If it's a tie 1-1 series, okay, you got to go 2-0. They could very well just take this series and take it and run. So tomorrow's Thursday, then Friday. Okay. So so that's what I got for the podcast today. Hopefully the Yankees game just plays, right? Like that's what stinks is because you had Friday off, you had Saturday off, Sunday off, Monday off. Yesterday you were supposed to play, adrenaline's pumping, then the game gets rained out. 5 straight days off. Mini All-Star break. Hopefully the Yankees can come back fresh. But one quick thing I want to say, and I knew the game was postponed. Like, I didn't know. There was no reports that came out, but I knew the game was going to get postponed. So, when I was watching the Yankees pregame, the game, I've heard that, it was on a delay. I saw the tarp on the field and everything like that. They said it's supposed to rain in Atlanta until, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's supposed to rain until, 10 o'clock. So, I was like, yep, this game's getting canceled. There's no way they're playing at 10 o'clock at night. So, anyway, the game ended up getting canceled 10 minutes later. So, 5-10 minutes later, it ended up getting canceled. So, they play tomorrow, or they play today, doubleheader, and then they off day tomorrow, then they play the Mets again, I'm pretty sure. Tell you what, man, this is an MLB season like no other. But luckily, we haven't had too many outbreaks. Meaning, now that there's, even if a player tests positive on a team, you don't have an outbreak anymore because of the new thing that they did. So far, so good with that. But yeah, the Yankees just hopefully they can come back fresh. That's all I hope. I'm trying to look at the upside, and they had a couple days off to kind of rethink of it, and they were able to do good. That's what I'm trying to think of this. So anyway, that's what I got for the podcast today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. coming right up on 50 minutes here. I'll be back at it tomorrow like always. We're running through a great stretch of podcasts. It's crazy. It's really good. Thanks. Like I said, I just want to thank you all for all the support. It's been great. I know sometimes people just say thank you, but I really mean it. I know a lot of people sometimes just say thank you, and, you don't really know. But thanks for all the support. I've been doing a ton of pods. I've been really enjoying, like I said, I enjoy doing them. I'm not getting paid for this. This is just a hobby of mine. I enjoy doing them, and I'm glad that you like them. So, yeah, that's what I got for the podcast today. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.